2021 has two techniques that will allow you to present your information to the students in such a way that will allow them to take the information from their short-term or working memory into their long-term memory, make it more useful for them later on. "50 years of work by cognitive scientists have led to the development of these two strategies. These scientists have told us, amongst other things, that the students must firstly recognize the material is important, and secondly must rehearse or mentally review the material. That makes our goal then is to portray the information in such a way as the students will recognize it as important and then retain it in a clear and comprehensive manner." In 1956, cognitive scientist George Miller, in one of the most cited papers in psychology entitled "The Magical Number 7 ± 2, proposed limits on our capacity for processing information, concluded that the short-term memory could only process 7 items ± 2. When we chunk information together, we are combining items into more memorable larger items, or items containing grouped individuals. As you're watching this video, sit and try to remember as many of these numbers as you can. According to Miller's law, you would have probably only been able to remember at the most 6 or 8. However, when we chunk the numbers together, we end up with 4 years: 1492, 1776, 1867, and 1972. These would be much easier to remember than a string of 16 digits. From this slide, you can see that the numbers are chunked together. However, we've exceeded Miller's law, and there's just too much information for us to be able to process efficiently. Limiting and chunking are techniques that are used by the instructors to make sure that the information is retained by the students. Limiting should be applied to all lessons. That's not to say all lessons should be cut short in length, but should only have between 5 and 9 items of pure learning. So framing or supporting information can be considerably longer, but if you want the students to remember what you're portraying, 5 to 9 items. There are no cons to chunking information. The only issue we run into is that sometimes information is not easily chunked together, as there is no rational pattern or no similarity between the items of the education. So there you go. There are two instructional techniques in one strategy. Chunking and limiting could and should be used in all lessons when you want your students to retain as much of the information as you portrayed. Limit the number of items you portray to them, and chunk the items together if you can to make them easier to remember.